Okay. Now, please forgive me. I just feel ill. I'm running a fever, but I'm going to soldier on through this. Okay. 10 reasons why people cheat in relationships. People cheat in relationships for a variety of reasons, and it's often a complex mix of factors. And here are some common reasons. Also, none of these are acceptable and reasonable excuses to be or do wrong. They're just reasons. Number 1, emotional dissatisfaction. When someone feels emotionally neglected or unfulfilled in their relationship, they might seek emotional connections elsewhere. So God desires that we express emotions. The Bible commands us to feel and express certain emotions, such as rejoicing, fear, anger, weeping, mourning, and delight. Emotions can be brought to God in prayer. Now, as I begin to read, I'm paraphrasing the scriptures to move along a little quicker, so please take the time and read for yourselves. So, let's see. Philippians 4, 6, and 7 says that we should bring our emotions to God in prayer so that we can receive his peace and guidance. And again, I want to make mention that this is in no specific order. So please don't comment and say, oh, this should be in that order and so and so. No, it's in no specific order, okay? 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, and it encourages believers to use emotions positively, following Jesus' leadership and judgment instead of using them negatively. Emotions can be sinful if left unbridled. Ephesians 4:31 warns us against allowing bitterness, anger, wrath, clamor, slander, and malice to exist. And we should allow ourselves to feel emotions, but in a way that leads to connection and greater freedom. We can draw closer to Jesus through prayer, meditation, worship, and Bible study. Okay, number 2, lack of physical intimacy. A decrease in physical intimacy or sexual dissatisfaction can lead some individuals to look for fulfillment outside their relationship. According to the Bible, physical intimacy is a normal part of marriage, and a lack of sex should only occur by mutual consent for a short time. So 1 Corinthians 7, 2 through 4 says, husbands and wives have a responsibility to meet each other's needs in this area. And then 1 Corinthians 7, 3 through 5 says, spouses may agree not to have sex for a limited time to devote themselves to prayer, but should come together again to avoid temptation. So, opportunity, number 3. Sometimes the opportunity presents itself and the temptation becomes too strong to resist, especially if the person believes they won't get caught. For instance, if you develop a relationship with someone who is more physically attractive than your spouse, the grass is greener on the other side is a trap. Also, the opportunity and temptation of meeting an individual that is rich and powerful, too often I've seen Christians be led by the flesh and go for the money. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, God will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you can bear and will provide a way of escape, but that escape only presents itself if we are obedient to Jesus. James 1:12, those who resist temptation and remain faithful to God will receive the crown of life. In Matthew 26:41, Jesus reminds us to stay vigilant and prayerful to resist temptation. Proverbs 4:14 through 15 says, don't do as the wicked do, and don't follow the path of evildoers. Okay, number 4, seeking validation. Some people cheat to feel desired, attractive, or important, especially if they feel undervalued in their current relationship. Matthew 6, 1 through 18 says, Jesus taught that his disciples should not seek approval from people when praying, fasting, or giving. John 12:43, Jesus condemned the Pharisees for loving the praise of men more than the praise of God. And Galatians 1:10 says, for I am not seeking the approval of man or of God, or am I trying to please man? If I was still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. Okay, number 5, thrill and excitement. The excitement and novelty of a new relationship can be enticing, providing a rush that might be missing in a long-term relationship. In Colossians 3:2, we are told, set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. So it would appear to some Christians that God commands. If we seek pleasure outside of him, then we reject him and the purpose of that pleasure. Okay, number 6, unresolved issues. Unresolved conflicts or resentment can lead to infidelity as a form of retaliation or escape. The Bible says that Christians should not seek revenge, but instead leave room for God's wrath. Jesus says that if someone strikes you on the cheek, you should turn the other cheek. He also says that whatever we measure out to others will be measured back to us, Luke 6:38. Number 7, personal insecurities. Insecurities and low self-esteem can drive someone to seek affirmation and confidence through an affair. The Bible says that Christians should not have low self-esteem and instead should have enough self-esteem work to avoid sin, be humble, consider others to be better than themselves, think of themselves with sober judgment and in accordance with the measure of faith God has given them. Not be anxious about anything, but instead pray and supplicate with thanksgiving and having confidence in the way God sees them. Number 8, lack of commitment. If one partner is not fully committed to the relationship, they might be more prone to cheating. Commitment to God, Jesus says that the most important commitment is to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. He also says that the commitment to God should come before commitment to family. Commitment in marriage, in Ephesians 5:25 says that husbands should love their wives as Christ loved the church. The Bible also says that a marriage union should be without fear of disintegration, and keeping commandments. James 5:12 says that people should let their yes be yes and their no be no. Jesus says that people should not make oaths, but instead simply say yes or no and stick with it. So commitment in relationships, be it Proverbs 17:9 says that any relationship that lasts needs forgiveness. Commitment to beliefs. The Bible says that God will provide endurance and strength when people face hardship and adversity. And number 9, influence of friends or environment. Peer pressure or being in an environment where infidelity is normalized can also play a role. Avoiding sin. The Bible warns against getting caught up in the ways of evildoers. For example, Ephesians 5:11 says to have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness. Standing up for what you believe, the Bible encourages you to stand up for what you believe and what the Bible teaches. Not giving in to peer pressure. The Bible advises against giving in to peer pressure and letting others decide what you do. Avoiding ungodly influences. The Bible says not to associate with people who are easily angered. For example, 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. And finally, number 10, past experiences. Some individuals might have underlying experience issues such as a need for constant attention from any type of abuse or an inability to form a stable commitment because of the past. The Bible says that people should not dwell on the past, but instead focus on the new things that God is doing. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I'll make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Romans 15:4 says, for everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through the endurance taught in the scriptures and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope. Enough said.